Okay, this is the video for working with colored pencil, doing different colored pencil techniques. Notice that I have my sketchbook and I have a pack of colored pencils. You guys were supposed to get a pack of colored pencils for this class. I recommend, if you've not bought them already, Prismacolor colored pencils, but you can certainly do this with any colored pencil set. I've taken my paper and I've divided it into 12 squares. There are 11 techniques listed, but I've divided into 12 just to make it easier. So I put 3 lines going down my paper this way and 2 this way, giving me 12 boxes. Okay, the first technique we're going to go over is hatching. All right, so hatching is basically using lines to shade or fill in, and they usually just go in one direction. It's done where you put the mark down and lift your pencil. Put it down and lift up. Put it down and lift up. It's not a coloring back and forth kind of thing, okay? So that is hatching. The next one is cross-hatching. Now, cross-hatching is used for shading, okay? And the way that you do cross-hatching is you hatch in one direction, okay? And to make that area look darker, you would then hatch across it in another direction, okay? The next one is called directional lines, okay? And you use directional lines to fill in things that have a direction or look like they should be going in a direction. So I've drawn a small circle on my paper, and I'm just going to use lines to follow the contour of that object to make that object, when I shade it, look a little rounder. Okay? You would use this for things, it's my favorite thing to use for cylindrical objects like this, where I'm trying to make this object look rounder. So I would use lines that kind of follow the direction or contour to kind of make it look rounder. Okay. Next one is gradated. This is a gradual change from one tone of color to another. Gradated. Okay. So for this one, you're going to take 2 colored pencils, and I like to use it for a demonstration purpose. I like to use 2 colors that are in heavy contrast of each other, high contrast. And the reason I like to use 2 contrasted colors is so that you can see what's happening. Okay? So the first thing you're going to do is you are going to color down in one direction. You're going to start out pressing heavier, and then as you go down, you're just going to lighten up. Okay? Then you're going to come in from the bottom with the other color, and you're going to color heavy. And then as you get closer to this purple area, you're going to ease up. Right? And you're going to color lightly over top of that purple area. What happens is it looks like it very gently changes from purple to green. And you can always go back in with the top color and lightly go over it, but it's a gradual change from one color to the next. Okay. Next one is tone. And tone is when you use your colored pencils in such a way that it looks like they are, it's a very smooth application of color where you can't see any of the strokes happening. So I like to use that with a very dulled down colored pencil. I don't know if you can see that very well, but I like to have a dulled down colored pencil to do this, and then I like to just very gently color with the colored pencil, and eventually you'll see where the strokes just kind of go away. Maybe the beginning strokes of this started out with some lines in it, but as I went through, it's a very smooth application. Okay, next one. Layering. This is when you put one color on top of another color, on top of another color, on top of another color to build heavy layers. So first, I would lay down an area of tone. Okay, and I would would go back over that a little bit, just kind of smooth it out a little bit. But I laid down a light application. Now I'm going to take another color that I would like to mix with this, and I'm going to lay another layer of tone right over top of that. And you're going to see my color start to saturate as I do this over and over again. Now I'm going to come back in with the other color that I started with, and I'm going to lay in an application of that. Okay, now I'm going to come back with my other color that I was layering on top of that, and I'm going to press a little harder because it's not working as well. But I'm just going to lightly apply color over color over color until that area becomes so saturated that you can't see the white paper showing through. That is how you saturate your color. Do you see how many layers this has taken just to get to as dark as I have it right now? That is layering. All right. Next one, pointillism. Sometimes you'll hear people refer to this as stippling. Okay. This is when you take a color and you dot over and over and over again in an area to create tone or create shading or create a color. I'm using this very close together to create an area of dense color. Further away, I will concentrate these dots. From far away, will look lighter. Now, with colored pencil, it's very difficult to get uniform dots. So sometimes I dash it a little bit, but most of the time I'm just doing dot, 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 dot. That is pointillism. All right, next one, sgraffito. Sgraffito is laying down a dense, heavy layer of color, pressing pretty hard. Okay, you'll notice wax bloom begins if you do this too heavily and too much. Wax bloom is where the wax rises to the surface of the color. Okay, but that's sgraffito. Impressed line is the next one. So this is where I would take something like a pen without the pen point sticking out. I would take just the rough edge of the pen. You could take the cap of a pen that has one of those little, has one of these things on it that sticks off of it. Or you could take your fingernail. I'm going to use my fingernail, and I'm just going to press a few lines into the paper. Then what I'll do is I'll take my colored pencil, and I will just lightly color over those lines in the opposite direction. And you will see those lines pop through. Next one, lifting. Lifting is done after putting down a light application of color and then taking an eraser, usually a kneaded eraser, and just lift, lift. I'm just pressing it into the color. I don't actually have a kneaded eraser right now, so making that happen is going to be difficult. But you can see, if I were to use my eraser on the colored pencil, it does erase, it just doesn't erase completely. So consider that when you're working. Your kneaded eraser is going to give you the exact same effect. Okay? Burnishing is your last one. Whoops, I spelled that really weird. Okay. Burnishing is applying a heavy layer of dark color, then applying a lighter color on top. So, if I were to burnish with a heavy layer of blue, so I'm doing a sgraffito, heavy layer of blue, and then I take a lighter color to apply on top of that, which in my case would be this lighter blue. I'm just applying it right on top of what's already here. You're not going to have an aha moment with this one, just so you know. but it might look a little cloudy when you do it, and that's kind of what the effect is supposed to be all about. It's going to look a little bit of a cloudier version of that color. Usually when you would do burnishing, you wouldn't do two completely different colors. You would try to use colors that are in the same color family. So dark blue, light blue, dark purple, light purple, you know, maybe red to orange, something of that sort.